All right.
So I want to introduce Allison Yeager, who's going to talk with us about intercultural, working with intercultural business, and that's her specialty. And so I'll ask Allison to take off her mute and welcome, Allison.
Hello. I'm
Give us a
telling
little
you,
bit of a background on yourself, huh?
huh?
Give a little background about yourself, and then after the talk, this is going to be a really casual talk too. Allison has a great presentation, and it's probably going to bring up some interesting conversation. And then we'll also do individual introductions afterwards.
I'd love to have conversation during it. If someone's like, hey, I remember, that would be great. I love stories. So feel free to get me distracted and off topic because that, as Todd knows, it's very easy for me to get distracted when we start talking about cultural stories. So my name is Allison Yeager, and I am an intercultural specialist. And what I do is I help businesses and individuals who are coming into the US from primarily East Asia and helping them adjust to American culture. And that ranges from everything on how do you do sales? How do you manage an American? How do you deal with an American? How do you deal with the healthcare system? I have not figured that one out yet. So if anyone understands the healthcare system, please let me know because I usually like to call someone else in on that one. But it ranges from all these different areas, and I work with a broad range of industries because it really doesn't matter what the industry is. Culture is culture, and you need to know it when you're going somewhere new so that you don't make a fatal error or you give your brand a really bad reputation because you refuse to adjust. So that is the really brief overview of who I am and what I do. Are we ready to go ahead and jump into the presentation? Do you want to wait? Todd? Ken? We're good? All right. I cannot share my screen. Can someone let me share? I will call on Ken to allow me to do things. That's the boss man. All right, there we go. All right. So while I have this up, I probably can't see anyone. So just unmute yourself and feel free to chime in. Once I figure out. All right. So the first thing is, what is culture? And the short version is, it's really hard to define it, but it's a way of life, or it's how we do things. It's how we see the world. And it's in all the details that make up our everyday lives, the buildings, the food, the way we greet each other, the words we use to describe something. And culture is something that is learned and passed down from generation to generation, but it can also separate one group from another. So culture impacts the way we think, the way we act, and the way we react in any given situation. And the bottom line is culture plays a critical role in everyday life, but also in business, because it influences how we communicate, how we collaborate, how we innovate, and how we relate to other people. So then it's more than language. That's one of the things that I typically come across is, well, I speak English. That's great. But if you think about England versus Australia versus the US, we have very different cultures, even though we all theoretically share the same language. And language is important, but it can be learned easily. Culture usually poses a much greater challenge than language. And language is simply the gateway to understanding a culture. But it's these cultural differences more than linguistic that lead to conflict. So it's a big list, but here are just different ways that we can differentiate how cultures react. And there are numerous intercultural scholars with different thoughts, different models, different ideas on how cultures are similar and how they're different. Edward Hall, Gert Hofstede, and Richard Lewis are some of the most prominent, and they're the ones that I typically refer to. But there are several others that are very common in the field. And of course, there's the everyday study of, have you been to the culture and have you seen the differences for yourself? Even if you go from where you guys are in Colorado and you come visit me in Cincinnati, I guarantee you we have different cultures. And within Cincinnati, we have different cultures, let alone from country to country. And these are simply starting points. It's understanding the why to build understanding.
So this list is a kind of
Overview.
a different view of how people look at culture, or what is it? It's just, or is it kind of all encompassing? This is culture, or these are some of the things people think about.
Different ways that people can separate it, so that if we look at power distance, which is why I pulled up this screen, the blue, green, and purple are Western. The warm colors are Eastern culture. How do we consider power distance, which is hierarchical versus egalitarian? So in the US, we're kind of low mid-range, or yeah, I'm trying to think, lower mid-range of the power distance compared to, say, China, where it's very hierarchical.
I don't think we're seeing the graph.
You should be.
We're still on the little lady with all the stuff around her head.
That's weird. Is it just not liking me? Todd, technology does not like me this week.
Well, it seems like it's treating us all the same.
Is it still not showing up?
It's still that lady with stuff floating around her head.
We're on page 4, yeah. So.
It's weird. All right, how do I stop share? It won't let me stop share. All right. Let me try sharing again. Yeah, let me know if it doesn't change, because it should be. Can you see it now?
It's still trying to kick in.
I ran into a problem yesterday with somebody trying to share an iPad screen where it refused to work properly. So
I'm plugged into the Ethernet.
yeah.
That's where I'm confused, is I'm on a wired connection right now. Why is it refusing to share? It's a shame, because Todd and I just went through this yesterday. If I switch screens. New share.
Do you want to send it to me and I can open it up and just tell me when to.
Do you have an Apple?
No,
you have a
I
Mac?
don't. No.
Because the program's for Mac.
What were you saying, Janet?
One of the things that I do is this in PowerPoint, Allison, or something different?
I'm sorry?
Are you using a PowerPoint?
Keynote.
So it's in Mac.
Sometimes I will save a PowerPoint on PDF and it goes more smoothly.
All right.
If you can save it into PDF, that might work.
Can you see my screen right now, though?
No.
No, it's just saying it started sharing.
Because I just completely closed it out. Weird. Give me one moment and I will.
No problem.
Save it, put it in a PDF, and put it in the chat.
Well, you should be able to open it too as PDF.
But then people can look at it.
Yeah.
If my internet doesn't like me, I'll just share the PDF.
Okay.
File.
And it may not be on your end. If I'm the host, my internet is somewhat flaky.
It's that spaceship's eating up all of the internet.
I know. Sucking
Yeah.
it right down.
I think it's my new 5G chip that I got with my vaccine.
There you go. Yeah, that was it.
I wanted a 5G chip.
I got a 5G chip. I just have to get my second one to make sure I get the full connection next week.
Yeah. Nice.
You're only at 2.5 then.
Yeah.
It'll be 5 then. Yeah, okay.
Well, maybe I'm at a 3 right now.
I want a chocolate chip.
Completely different. So actually, while we do this, why don't we?
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.